Boogeyman Ben. Horror Zone.
Greetings, my fellow fiends. It's your buddy Boogeyman Ben here for another episode of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone. And this video is going to be my 15th underrated horror film segment. And I haven't done an underrated horror film segment in quite some time. The last one I did was over the summer, where I talked about Jennifer 8. And for a while I was doing quite a few of these, and I just sort of felt like it was getting stale, and I started saying, well, I'll just give it a rest for a while. And I didn't realize how long it had been since I've done one. But last week, on January 19th, the movie I'm about to talk about today was released, and it was in 1996, and I was 21 at the time. I would have been 22 that year. But I remember going to see this movie with my buddies, and it was just an amazing film, and I couldn't believe how awesome it was. And it was just a real treat for horror fans, because it was a movie that a lot of people didn't expect to be a horror film. And I still think to this day, this movie does not get enough credit. The movie is fantastic. It has aged very well. It is still a blast to watch, and I can't say enough great things about it. The movie I'm referring to is From Dusk Till Dawn. And I could not believe, just thinking about it, that it has been 20 years since this movie came out. Because I still feel like this movie is really new, but I was not a fan of George Clooney until this movie. I had nothing against his acting or anything like that. I'd seen him in other roles and things like that, but this was the movie that just I couldn't believe just how awesome he was in this movie. And I was already a fan of Tarantino because of Pulp Fiction. So I remember seeing this, and I had seen Desperado, so I knew who Robert Rodriguez was. I hadn't seen El Mariachi, but I remember just watching this film and being blown away that it starts out like one thing and it ends up another. And that's where a lot of the criticism comes for this movie. But what I want to do is talk about this film. Typically what I do in these segments, I talk about the plot, cast, crew, and my thoughts on the film. And I hope everyone looks forward to this. Please stay tuned. Seth and Richard Gecko are outlaws on the run. They kidnap the Fuller family and force them to drive them across the border into Mexico. Once in Mexico, they seek refuge at a bar called the Titty Twister. Soon the brothers and their captives realize that the bar is run by a coven of vampires. They all must band together to fight to stay alive. Cast, you have Harvey Keitel as Jacob Fuller, George Clooney as Seth Gecko, Juliette Lewis as Kate Fuller, Quentin Tarantino as Richard Gecko, Ernest Liu as Scott Fuller, Salma Hayek as Santanico Pandemonium, Cheech Marin as border guard Chet and Carlos, Danny Trejo as Razor Charlie, Tom Savini as Sex Machine, Fred Williamson as Frost, Michael Parks as Texas Ranger Earl McGraw, and John Hawkins as Pete Bottoms, liquor store clerk. Story was written by Robert Kurtzman with a screenplay by Quentin Tarantino, and the movie was directed by Robert Rodriguez. Just something I wanted to showcase real quick before getting into my thoughts on the film, but this is the original screenplay with a foreword by Clive Barker. I've had this since the movie came out, so back in 1996 I bought this along with the Pulp Fiction screenplay, which I don't have anymore because I gave it to a friend in my screenplay class, my screenwriting class in college, and I never got it back. But this is a great screenplay. I love the art in it. Just Till Dawn. I don't know if I think you can still buy this. I don't know. There's the foreword by Clive Barker. And it's a great screenplay. And at the time, I was in screenwriting classes, and I was trying to write my first screenplay. So I bought like Four Rooms, which was another Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez collaboration, and then I had Pulp Fiction, and I had this one. If you ever want to know how to write a screenplay, I mean, the best thing you can do is really just pick one of these up for yourselves and just see how it goes. It was really helpful to me when I was in screenwriting courses in college. And there's the back cover. It's a great read. I haven't read it in a while, but I remember I read this quite a few times when I was in college. So if you couldn't tell, I fucking love this movie. I've loved this movie since the first time I saw it. It was a fucking blast. I just remember the criticisms I got, and people my own age, peers of mine, didn't like it because they didn't know what kind of movie it was. Now, I remember the commercials, and they did show that there was vampires in this movie, but I think a lot of people went into it thinking it was just sort of like a normal Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez film, or, it's like a heist movie, or a kidnapping movie, or something like Reservoir Dogs, or Desperado, or Pulp Fiction, which they were known for. But this is just, the thing I love about this is that it sets it up as one way, and then it goes a different way, and I had a fucking blast with this movie. And like I said, George Clooney is fucking amazing in this. I absolutely loved him. Awesome as Seth Gecko. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of ER until I met my wife, who was really big into the show. Before that, I didn't watch the show, so I didn't know a lot about him. I knew at this time that this movie had come out, he had been cast as the next Batman, and of course, Batman and Robin is horrible. But when I saw this movie, I was like, George Clooney is pretty fucking badass. He could play Batman, but sucked for him is that movie was just god awful horrible. I also thought Quentin Tarantino was so twisted as Richard Gecko. They're polar opposites. I loved both of their interactions together, and just it's amazing chemistry between the two. But you also have Harvey Keitel, who's fantastic in this, Juliette Lewis, who I love in this as well, and then the gorgeous Salma Hayek, who I had the biggest crush on then and still do now. She's just absolutely stunning in this, and her dance number in the movie with the snake she's just gorgeous. Also, you have Danny Trejo, one of the first movies I saw him in. You also have the amazing Tom Savini as Sex Machine, which just has the coolest name ever, and just the action, the special effects, which were done by K&B. You also have a cameo by Greg Nicotero. And Fred Williamson, and just there's nothing bad about this film at all. It's just it's a blast. It's a party from start to finish. If you haven't seen From Dusk Till Dawn, where the hell have you been? And I just still cannot believe that there are some people that do not like this film. This film is so much fun. If you have not seen it, you owe it to see this. This fucking movie is a blast. It's one of the best vampire movies I've ever seen. And like I said, everybody needs to give it a watch if they haven't seen it. And let me know in the comments below if you've seen the film, what you think about it, and if you've heard things that I've, like some of the things I was talking about where people are critical of it, because it's not a straightforward kidnapping movie and that it turns out to be a vampire picture. It threw a lot of people off, but I just thought that was awesome because it was refreshing and different, and hats off to Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. And also, if anybody has seen the sequels to this film, let me know what you think. I don't own either one of them because I wasn't crazy about either one of them, especially the second one is fucking horrible. The third one was okay, but I'm curious what people think about them if they want me to talk about them. I don't own them, and I've only watched one of them once. Each one of them I only saw once because that was enough for me. Nothing can compare to this film. And like I said, just wanted to do this on the anniversary, 20 years, can't fucking believe it, 20-year anniversary of From Dusk Till Dawn. And I'm curious what other people think of the movie, so please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Would love to hear what everyone has to say about it. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming very soon. Take it easy, stay scared. Peace.